We are starting the meeting. We are starting the recording, blah, blah, blah. Sorry for the confusion. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Joe. Blah, 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 blah. Let's get started. Hal should be here in a minute. We're talking about the initiative. The initiative is filed. This meeting is all about, let's have our talking points for the initiative. So I want to do a couple pieces of news first. And then we're going to have go to Joe Payne. He's going to talk about something for 5 minutes. Daniel and I are going to regulate that. Joe Payne's not going to talk for more than 5 minutes. He's just going to talk about something for 5 minutes. And then Daniel's going to lead the entire rest of the discussion. I've already talked a lot with Daniel. People, you have a great moderator in Daniel, Mr. Costa. He is prepped. He is ready to elicit exciting ideas from all of you. Today's meeting, Daniel's going to be fiercely militant about making sure that we are only sharing ideas and not debating ideas. This is all about just as many ideas as possible. I worked with Daniel and he's going to be pulling them out of you. He wants to suck all those ideas right out of your brain and get them recorded. And the idea is, folks, I don't want you to debate. I don't know what the right answer is, and you don't either. We're going to listen to everybody, and then I want you to think about it. Hal's already sent out a logo for people to think out. CalExit, the California Promise. Interesting take. I'm thinking about it. Hannah's already made a lifeboat graphic and sent it out to everybody. I already took that and modified it. And I go, Hannah, this is for everybody to play with. And she goes, yes. We are, and I go, I don't know what the right answer is. We are going to find out. We're going to test marketing ideas. We're going to test logos. And we're going to find out what works. And what the people say is what I think our movement will coalesce. So let me go over a couple notes. Then we're going to go to Joe Payne. And then Daniel's going to lead the talk through talking points. So real quick, everybody needs to know that I sent out an email recently called CalExit's Going Mainstream. What I meant by that is that in 2017, we had an easier time getting members, getting blah, 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 lots of people joining. And it's been a little bit tough since then. You know, we've been able to hold on to members, keep people leaving, but we might be able to bring on people, but it would be like one person at a time. Well, once we filed the initiative, we found out something we didn't know before, ever. Mainstream acceptance. So powerful people connected to power are responding to people in CalExit. Daniel Costa reached out to the California Public Banking people, and they responded. He said, I'm with the group. We want to ignore federal regulations on this and this and that. And we love the public banking people talking about, let's get the feds out of our banking. They responded. Stu Hirsch reached out to a sustainability director and said, I'm the ambassador of CalExit. He responded. Hannah Miyamoto reached out to Joe Matthews. I emailed Joe Matthews. He didn't respond to me. He picked up Hannah's email. So that's 3 people independent of me reaching out to people in power saying I'm with CalExit, and they're going, sure, what do you want to talk about? That's never happened before. Never happened in 2017, 2018, 2019, never happened in 2020 till this month. And it was because we filed the initiative. So I know there's some people, blah, 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 the initiative this and that. Folks, if we didn't file that initiative, we wouldn't know what we know now. Mainstream acceptance and people with positions of power are willing to be seen talking to us. That has never happened before. Nothing remotely close, ever. So I'm just saying, you're right. Mistakes were made. I did a lot of those mistakes. The environment now, in many ways, is not as good as it was in 2017. But in many ways, the environment now is better than it's ever been. We've never had mainstream acceptance. We've never had people in power talking to us. So the head of the California Senate asked to join LinkedIn and talk to me the second the initiative was filed. The Michael Feinstein, co-founder of the Green Party, city council member, Santa Monica mayor, also contacted me. I've talked to him for about 4 hours. He's helped refine amendments in the initiative. He's also put me in contact with Californians for electoral reform, Californians for redistricting, and Common Cause. Steve Chesson of Californians for Electoral Reform, president of that group, has commented on the initiative. So this initiative Steve Chesson, Californians for Electoral Reform, and Michael Feinstein, Green Party founding member, city council member, Santa Monica mayor, participating directly in an initiative for secession. Yes, electoral reform president, Green Party founding member. Hey, I want to work with you on your initiative to secede. Highest ranking member of California Senate says, let's talk the day after we file an initiative for secession. See what's happening here? The way I like to put it is, if I was on fire and I walked up to Joe Matthews' office and I said, I'm on fire, I'm on fire, he would turn around and completely ignore me and let me burn to a cinder. Now they're calling us and asking for attention.
Okay.
I cannot explain how different that is. People would not respond at all. Now they're asking to talk. Now they're in consultation. The biggest one is, well, not the biggest one. I still think Hannah getting Joe Matthews to respond to her directly was game-changing. And I also think the Public Banking Institute responding to Daniel's email saying we want to ignore federal laws was game-changing. Changing environment. People with power are willing to speak with us and talk with us. They wouldn't spit in our direction if we were to save our lives. Massive change. The movement's never been that good before, period. We have never had it this good before, ever. So in that way, the movement's better than it's ever been, folks. Also, I talked to Wonderman, Mr. Wonderman, who is the Bay Area Economic Council. So top 1,000 companies in the Bay Area. He's president of that committee that talks to all of them. He is one of the top 100 most connected people in California. When he picks up the phone and calls Nancy Pelosi, she stops what she's doing and picks up the phone. Same thing with the governor, with everything. I spoke with him from 10:45 to 11:45 Friday morning about the initiative to secede from America. The guy who picks up the phone and the governor calls, the guy who calls the governor and he picks up the phone and says, what would you like to talk about? Talked about our initiative for seceding. He reviewed the initiative. He said in email he reviewed the initiative. He did not slam the initiative, and he said our inclusion of proportional representation in dialogue with Michael Feinstein was, quote, good. So we have somebody who talks to Governor Newsom saying straight up, I read your initiative to secede. It has never been like this. We have never had this kind of connection ever. Okay, just wanted everybody to know that. I'm going to stop. Let's go to Joe Payne. Joe, you have 5 minutes to talk about this new thing. We're not taking comments, just explain what it is, and then we're going to go to Daniel, and Daniel will lead the rest of the meeting. So Joe, your time, brother.
We can't hear him.
Daniel, I need you to unmute Joe Payne. Joe Payne?
Sorry. Okay. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
All right. So I don't need a full 5 minutes. I just need a couple of minutes just to go over this real quick about the email group. So we had some issues before, and that's why we moved everything into another system, the Google Groups, okay? Is Google Groups the best thing? No. Is it free? Absolutely. And that was one of the reasons why we went there. It's free, it's easy to use, and not everybody has to have a Google account to be able to access everything. So it's user-friendly, okay? It was a way for us to regulate and moderate, especially with trolls. We can boot people really easy. It also gives us privacy, so you're only able to see your own email address and the group email address. You're not able to see everybody's email address, okay? Which is good. That way everybody's got a little bit of privacy control there. However, there's an issue with that with if you email the group, no one knows it's you unless you put a signature at the bottom saying who you are and all that. Just be careful not to put information in there that you don't want everybody else to know. So like your email address, your phone number, things like that. But we need to make sure that everybody's there, everybody gets over to that and is using that. If we're still in the old email chains, then what was the point of moving everybody over to another system, okay? And like I said, I think we've tried Slack before, but it was from what I hear, it was kind of a failure. We've tried it a couple times, but it didn't work. So let's do this. I know it's not everybody's favorite thing, but let's do this. If somebody wants to go out there and find something better, by all means do. Okay, this doesn't have to be, the end all be all of what we do. This was just something that we went to because it was easy. It can get everybody on board very quickly. New members can come on board. You are able to share that email address and the link to the main page where people can request to join. So, and I've had people that have already been requesting to join. I see that and I can just approve them. So then they're able to post into the chat room. Another thing too is we can organize this a little bit better so that we can have a group for Southern California, a group for Northern California, a group for Central California, or a group for the leadership and a group for everyone else. However you guys want to do it, I'm open to this. If somebody else has a better idea, let me know. If somebody else wants to take control of all this, I'm open to that too. I'm not married to any of this, okay? But with that said, I think that's pretty much it. Just let me know, okay? Thanks, guys.
Hey, Joe, real quick, before
Yeah.
you go, question. People can respond, so they get an email from the group. They can, in their email, they can respond to that email and the response will go back out to the group?
Yes, so if you just hit reply, it will go back out to the entire group. Okay, you don't need to hit reply all. It's just the one email address that you're getting the email from. Okay, what happens is that email will go out to everybody in the group. Okay, everybody in the group will get it. It's also archived on the website. So you can go back through and look at all of the other emails, everything that we've said since the very beginning of that group opening. It's all archived there. So if you're putting something in there, if you just want to email something to the group, let's say it's a graphic, okay? You can just email it to that group email address. It'll get there. Everybody will have access to it, and then it will stay there in the archives.
You can also join the group and create a brand new subject.
Yeah.
Say, my awesome statements on how to get collection for signatures, and people would respond, and then it archives these separate emails as separate topics. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
exactly how it works.
And the main benefit is that you're able to kick out trolls, which we're not able to do with our email list now. Is that fair?
Yeah, so we had somebody that we needed to kick out, but they have access to everybody's email address, okay? That's the problem. There's not each one of us has to go through and block that person, okay? With this, if we have somebody that's trolling the group, I can just click a button, they're done. They can't see anybody's email address. They never had it. And it's as simple as that. They're gone. Then they don't have access to any of that information anymore.
Okay, I like it. I agree with Joe. We need to experiment. Let's give this a shot. And the key, I think, is can we migrate everybody from the current list to this one? I'm against losing anybody in transition. So as long as we make sure everybody migrates, I'm all about it.
Yeah, there's one thing that I do want to make sure that we keep the topic of discussion to that. Let's keep the discussion to that topic. So if we have a topic over here that's talking about action and everything else, and then we have somebody that is just seeing a bunch of emails that's about other things, that it really discourages people. So let's stay on topic, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think you should act. It's your group. I know a couple other people have been managers. I think other people want to be managers. Talk to Joe Payne. I'm a manager of the group, and I don't want to be. I got enough going on. I love you, Joe. I love the group, but blah, blah, blah. Anyways, you want to be a manager, see Joe Payne. And also, I think you should militantly guard it. You know, one of the things that I've learned with these conferences with Daniel is that when you create regulations and you let people know this is so that we can do better, they respect you more. I learned that from Daniel Costa, saying, hey, folks, we need to do better, and that's why we have to have these rules. So you can't do any topic you want. This is about activism or things like that. People will respect you more, and they will use that platform more. Daniel Costa taught me that. Okay, let's stop there. Thank you, Joe. Daniel, take it over.
Just a quick question to Joe. How is it easy to set up a new topic? I didn't see that feature. How you do that?
Yeah, there's two ways that you can do that. You can Start a new topic by just emailing a brand new email to that email address.
Okay.
Or you can go into the site and just hit new topic and start a whole new, but it's the same thing. It's just starting a new email.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Daniel, please lead everyone in a discussion, one by one, 3 to 5 minutes each, no debates on how do you talk to people to get them to sign a petition? And 2 ways. At home, we're not allowed to go out into the streets. We're still under pandemic. You got to talk to the people, your roommates, or someone at home. Or maybe we can go out into the streets and you got to talk to a total stranger. How do you talk to a family member if you have to stay home and do this? And how do you talk to a total stranger on the streets? Daniel, please suck as many good juices out of people's brains as you possibly can. And I love you for it, sir.
Okay, so here we go. Thanks, guys, for all being here. I just want just a quick housekeeping. We're going to do 3 to 5 minutes, like Marcus said, each. We are not going to debate each other. We're just going to come up with talking points on the initiative, and we'll think about it for the next meeting and stuff. But everybody, if you want to write down everybody's idea, and then we'll take all those ideas and see which ones are, you know, the best. And there's been a lot of activists here, that Shankar, Hal, myself, Marcus and stuff, that have gone actually to get signatures. So I definitely want to get the input from those people for sure, because they have a lot of knowledge and experience to share. So that being said, let's go on. So what I would like to say, since I'm on right now, is this whole meeting is to really get everyone ready mentally, physically, about what it's going to be like to get signatures, to gather signatures. I'm just going to quickly give my opinion, my experience doing that. And then we'll go to each person and see what their you know, input or what they think would be good talking points for that. So as far as I'm concerned, I started, you know, a long time ago with Shankar Hal, like 4 years ago. The first time I went out there I was like completely nervous, didn't know what I was doing. We all didn't know what we were doing. It was like the first time we were ever out there. And we set up a table, we did this, you know, we didn't know exactly how to pitch anybody. So, you know, we kept doing this stuff and got a little better at it, got more confident. I just want to say to everyone, it is intimidating to go out there, especially people are not used to it. Like myself, I don't like cold calls. I'm not a salesperson or anything. So it's really hard to go up to a stranger and pitch him something. They'll walk by you, they'll, you know, or they'll insult you, or they'll say it'll never happen. You're going to get all these responses, and you have to have a thick skin to do. You can't take it personally. You're going to get rejected, but it's not going to be you. It's going to be either the message, either somebody's not in the mood to talk to you. They're going to walk by with headphones and act like you don't even exist. Shankar's way of doing it, and he'll tell you more, is he doesn't even let them get by. He has his bullhorn. He'll go and chase them and do his bullhorn, and they'll take off their earplugs and they'll actually listen. And his way, sometimes he insults them. He just goes, what, you're too busy? You don't want a better college education? You don't want to do this. You're too busy for that? Well, fine with you. So he's got his methods, a little bit more abrupt. Hal is much, you know, more, you know, soft-spoken about it. And he's much more like the facts and everything like that. So everybody's got their own style. You're going to get your own style. Matt has his own style. You're going to have to figure out what that is for yourself. But what I want to tell you is that as much as it's scary to go out there and talk, you get better at it. Just like these video conferences at the beginning when we didn't have it all down. People didn't know how to speak on video that well. we've gotten all better at that. So it's just getting out there and doing it. Now, that being said, it's really rewarding, exciting. I want you guys to be excited, not scared. Turn fear into excitement. Because when you do get a signature, when you do get somebody that talks to you, that's interested, that's a win. That one signature is a win. And it will keep you going, and you'll find your own way. So what we're doing today is we're going to have talking points that we should all write down, and we can use them out there and see which ones work the best. This is a dynamic process. It doesn't, you're gonna learn. There's no right way. I will still keep on learning. You're going to have to be intuitive. You're going to have to recognize the persons you're talking to, their mood, you know, what their interests are. This is very intuitive as a process to recognize people as you're talking to them and bring out certain points that will reflect really well for them. They'll be more open to it, and try not to put points that are maybe too radical for that person. But then you're going to meet people that are radical, and you're going to go, yeah, this is a radical movement. We're doing that, and you're going to agree with them, and they're going to go, yeah, I didn't even know you existed. I'm in for it. So that's what I wanted to say on my part. So just be ready for that. The next meeting, we'll talk about the technicalities of how you gather votes. That's very important. But for now, don't want to confuse everybody. So basically, we're just going to go, I'm going to go and open the conversation to each of you, and you can share your talking points, your experience. And so let's do that. Hold on. There's somebody that wants to, Shankar has entered the waiting room. Okay. Looks like Shankar got kicked out or something. Okay. Howard, did you want to go first? Okay. Let me unmute you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm going to give you the first point that I want everybody to keep in mind. If you've never gathered signatures before, or if you've never actually spoken politics in a public forum, this is important, and I wish that someone had told me this. I'm going to give you permission right now to not succeed in getting your talking points across. It's okay not to collect that signature. In fact, actually, I want you to understand, when you face that person who is going to get aggressive or is going to hit you with whatever talking points they're going to hit you with, you have permission to say thank you and walk away. Nobody's going to knock you if you don't doggedly drag that person down and force them to sign that piece of paper. A lot of people who begin this process go out there thinking that, but what I'm saying is so smart and so right. I mean, who would not want this? But you're going to get all kinds. Danny hit on some points. You're going to get people who are going to be blatantly rude, who are going to think that you're nuts, or that you're a fringe movement, or that you're insane, or they're going to accuse you of this or that. You have permission, and Marcus will back me on this, I'm sure. You have permission to just say thank you and walk away. Go to the next person. Go to the next person. Begin the conversation. You start them polite. You end them polite. But know that you don't have to stand there and take their abuse.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to stand there and take their abuse. Please, in fact, please don't. It says it in the manual. If somebody's coming at you, go get your lead, babe. Bring in somebody who knows. You're out. It's like you. I'm going to address you all as basically the leads that are going to be out there talking to people. Tell your people, it's okay. It's all right. You know, you don't have to win every fight. We'd like to, but that's just not the way the political situation works. So it's the first thing you should keep in mind. you have permission to just say thank you and walk away. Okay? That's where I'd like to start off, Danny.
Okay, thanks.
Thank
Thanks, Al. Anybody want to go next? Hannah. Hannah, let me unmute you. All right, Hannah, you're on.
The first thing I want to point out to you is that I've been collecting signatures more times than I can recall. I think the first time would have been in 1982. So take that for a deep breath. That's over almost 30 years ago. And no, almost 40 years ago, it was for the Nuclear Freeze campaign. And those of you who are old, my age, remember it. And the first question I can tell you're going to be asked is not, are you a communist or whatever, but it is, why are you here? What is this about? And that's why I realized, thinking about that is why I created this. Because people can look at that and now they'll say, California independence, what are you talking about? You've already gotten past that first question. And I created, my proposal is, and I hope there's enough, you know, obviously making a bunch of these, we can make these things up quite inexpensively, maybe $3, $4 each, by professionals. They can have whatever design we want. Yellow for the state of California, right? Can I share screen, Hal? I mean, not Hal.
It's kind of a pain, Hannah, because then
Okay.
I have
Well,
to.
I will just simply relate to you that
Yeah.
I got the idea for the rosette, in case you're wondering, from the United Kingdom. In Great Britain, if you go into politics, whether you're Liberal Party or Conservative Party or Labour Party, Scottish National Party, Sinn Féin, etc., everybody runs around with these kind of rosettes, and they put them on their lapels, so that when they come to the door, someone's on the other side of the door. You know they're probably running for office, or they're trying to get you to, they're door knocking for a candidate, as we call it in the States, right? We call it door knocking. Well, they door knock over in Great Britain too. And that's the idea. I've never seen anybody do this, and certainly no one's worn colorful ribbons for decades and decades and decades. So I thought, hey, this is a chance for a unifying symbol that all the different groups will be identified as our movement, right? This is for the ballot initiative. This will get in the newspapers as like the symbol, yeah? And then we don't have to worry about the fact that some of us are CNP and some of us are YC and some of us are IC and some of us are Compact and some of us are ICE. All right, and who knows? And then there's even more groups coming out, Greens and whatever. Who knows who's going to be joining us on this one? So when you all got the one symbol, you got the one banner, someone knows. And the idea ultimately is, by the way, is not the hostile person. It's the person who's driving down the road and they literally stop their car and pull over and park and run over to you and saying, oh my God, I can't believe it. Where do I sign? I'm serious, you really will get people like that who have literally, like, they've been sitting there looking out the kitchen window and they've been saying, God, we got to do something. And they don't quite know all the rigmaroles. They want to make sure their signature counts. I do believe, by the way, going back to a question that Marcus asked, how do we do this if there's a COVID epidemic going on? My own feeling is, I think we should pay a lot of attention on educating our people, because it's actually physically possible for people to literally sign their own petition and mail it in if they do it correctly. So, or literally get everybody in their household to mail it in, and literally you don't have to stand on the corner. And we are in a completely different situation right now. We have no idea what the future is going to hold. So, and I've already related, including on my website, Compact, cal-lib.com, where I've suggested that, hey, this baby could become like the protest vote. You don't like what's going on with Donald Trump getting all these gunmen on the streets, having shootings, and even, who knows, lynchings of minority people, or who knows how they're going to react. I won't go on much longer, just the point that, I'm actually kind of worried that Joe Biden is going to do so well that the right wing simply won't believe it. They're going to say, how could Donald Trump have lost Texas or Arizona if this was a fair election? And
Mm.
Fox News is going to tell them, well, because it wasn't a fair election.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, guys, I will say that if you didn't know, Donald Trump's like, what, 7% behind in Arizona right now, and he's 0.1% behind in Texas. So it's going to be crazy. I mean, and I think that's ironically going to be the other problem. I think, so as it is, I've said enough. This is it. Hope there's a little bit of desire to get some of these babies out there. Wear one. You can see this is about 4 inches across, which is a good size. The streamers I have in mind will be 9 inches long, so they'll really, in a wave around. If you're outside, they'll be waving around in the wind. Go get some attention, and people then also will not have that first question of, why are you here? What's this about? And you can jump to the next question of, and if they look at it and they already have made their mind up, then they're going to say, where do I sign? Can I help? Do you need money? Etc. Those kind of questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you. And yeah, if anybody's interested in those lapels or whatever, get in contact with Hannah and see if we can get a bulk pricing on those. But we'll talk about that again.
Also, Daniel, if I could real quick,
Yeah.
if you have an idea, post it in the chat. Sue's commenting on the chat. So Hannah, if you have links, you want people to look at it, or someone else has an idea, post it in the chat. They'll see it here. Sorry, Daniel.
Maybe I'll send some of the pictures up that way.
Okay. I had a raised hand from John. I think you raised your hand. Did you want to say something? Sure.
Yeah, I wanted to share my successes in the first initiative signature gathering. I had people giving me money, standing in line to sign, and the most effective tool that I found for gathering signatures was organization. Having all the clipboards for each county and very clearly labeled. So when someone comes up and say, I live in San Francisco County, I can just grab that clipboard and give it to them. All the different counties in California have their own signature page. So not everybody's going to sign the same page. So you have to have all that stuff really well organized. And if you have a large enough table, you can have all the clipboards on display with the county name very clear, printed on each one, so that when someone walks up, you can easily grab the county that they live in and give them that clipboard. That also works if you have one large clipboard. You can have tabs down the side, little stickers that you can put on each county's page. And when you fill one up, you remove the tab and put it on a clean page back in the order on the clipboard. Just having that organized really helps with efficiency. And I gather hundreds of signatures every time I set up my table in Oakland. So it was very, very popular until Timothy Draper came out with his 3-state initiative, and everybody was like, nah, I don't like that. And I was like, nah, this isn't it. And they just didn't care anymore. So proof that that initiative undermined ours, whether it was intentional or not.
It was intentional.
Yeah, John, I just wanted to say to everyone, what you just brought up is more the technical aspect, and we talked about this with Marcus. On the next meeting is when we're gonna, because the technical aspect is very important actually, but right now this isn't the purpose of this one. This is just to get ideas on how to get people to sign and how to go about it. But we will be having that discussion on how, to set up the actual petitions and how people have to sign it a certain way.
No, of course. That was not my point. The point is, if you want people to sign, you have to be organized.
Yes.
So
yes,
being organized is the best way to get signatures.
We will be addressing that actually. Yes.
So John's saying that the appearance of being organized initially encourages the probability that people will sign.
Yeah.
That's good.
Strategy. Thanks, John. There was Matt, I think, is raising his hand. There you go, Matt.
Thank you. I like the idea of the tabs up the side of the petition so that you can have multiple counties on the same clipboard. That relates to the constituencies to which I'm taking this. Forget about home, that's not happening. But I'm a rideshare driver. I got passengers. A lot of them are favorable to our independence. So I'll have a clipboard in the back for them to sign, at least one. And with multiple counties, because they operate in 2-3 counties. So whether it's multiple clipboards or, you know, tabbed petitions on the same clipboard, I'll be sure to have some for each of the counties I operate in. The other place that you may have noticed that I'm enjoying terrific success is at Black Lives Matter demos. Except for the very first 30-second spot that I took on the Rodriguez Dam between Tecate and Tijuana, all of those spots in which they give the grito of Gran California are at BLM demos. So they're right there. They are right there. They are ready to go. And the other side keeps making a case for us. You know, one could say generally, why are we, you know, having these problems because we're part of the U.S. What if we weren't, blah, 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 which works in a general sense. But now we got some really alarming things happening, like just happened in Portland, okay, where these very questionable officers came up and just started grabbing people on the streets like they used to do in Chile during Pinochet. They are making the case for us more strongly than we could make the case for ourselves, and that keeps happening. That's always been the case. That's why we're a movement, folks, because of what the other side's been up to. And every time they do something like that, they make a case for us again. It's like, you saw what happened in Portland, right? You don't want this to happen in California, right? Well, the way to make sure that it don't happen in California is to make sure that California, it can't happen because there are no federal agents. They're gone, along with the rest of the U.S. government. So we don't have to wait until they come knocking at our doors. We can show them the door. And that, I think, will work extremely well, especially with the BLM protesters. Extremely well. Like I say, I'm able to, you know, walk up with the liberation flag. Somebody asked me about it. I tell the story, and you saw what happens time after time after time. I'm able to talk them into giving a grito. It raises, you know, that's why I like it, because people don't know what it is, but in the back of their mind, they go, haven't I seen something like this before? Which the state flag has it up in the canton. So the light breaks. So yeah, I'm going to be out there with at least one clipboard and maybe one clipboard with tabs or multiple clipboards ready to go when I'm doing ride shares and when I go to demos. I'm going to be ready whenever those come through. I like the idea of the rosette a lot. It's, thank goodness, not a Remembrance Day poppy. But yeah, I like the idea of the rosette a lot. Okay, the SOS, you know, save ourselves from, you know, the Yankee hegemon. Yeah, that will speak volumes. That will speak volumes. It will help.
Thank you, Matt. Guys, I just want to remind you, what I would like from you guys is to really, especially the ones that are experienced and stuff, to really go into how to approach somebody, for example, how to first approach someone. What's a good line? What's a good way to not feel, you know, threatening to them as you're going, you know, to approach them. though I would like more of those tips or what you think would be a good way to approach people, and then to not sell them, but to inform them and let them, gauge it and then maybe close it with a signature. But so I would like to see your ideas on that, how to best do that. That's really what this meeting is about. And those that haven't done it, what you would think would be a good way to do it also. So Sue, yes, I see you raising your hand. I'm going to let you go next. Thank you. You gotta unmute yourself, Sue. Thank you.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, it always takes me a minute to get to that unmute button. Well, one thing I did with my husband, who is in the This Will Never Work camp, it will never happen, he's in that camp. What I did with him was I asked him, well, since you don't think it'll work, will you just sign it in order to support me as your wife? And he's cool with that because he loves me and he'll do anything for me. So a lot of people would probably respond to something like that if they know you, but they don't think this will work. And then I had some other talking points here that I wrote down. Marcus has some too, and Matt, because I copied them. What does everyone love and what can they all agree on? Marcus has put it sort of that way before when he mentioned clean water and air into the future for our children and our children's children. And they all want to know also how we plan to make sure that everyone always has enough of all sorts of things, even during our transitory phase when we have a provisional government. They want to be assured of enough money, health care, equality, water, food, enough energy to heat and light their homes, enough education, enough work, and enough opportunity to enjoy their hobbies and pleasures once we're autonomous. And we need to be able to tell them honestly that our think tank has covered all that. They've come up with all those solutions and ideas that cover those things and address those issues. And we need to be able to tell them where they can access those answers that are put out by our think tank, and how to get to a sort of a Q&A page, a question and answer page put out by our think tank. And maybe we can hand them business cards with that web address. And another thing is that a large segment of our population, I mentioned equality before, a large segment of our population wants better equality and a fairer justice system. And we have to be able to name that type of system and guarantee it. And we have to be able to explain what it's going to look like and how it's going to work and how it's going to guarantee their equality and their children's equality and a fairer justice system. And how it's going to eliminate all this injustice that they're suffering right now under the current administration, and how we're going to be sort of new and improved and better than that. And then there are the ones that are convinced that without California, our Democratic brothers and sisters in other states will continue to suffer the ever more kleptocratic and militaristic rule of this rather new dictatorship that always was America. We have to be able to tell those people exactly how and why we can be better, and if they give us, how we can be better if they give us a divorce than if we stay.
Great, thanks, Sue. Sue had a great point here. What her point she's making is about education, that we should all be educated enough to be able to answer common questions that we're going to get, like water, like military, like things like that. People will always, especially the people that don't believe in it, will want to push us to make their points, and we have to be knowledgeable to be able to answer them and say, no, that's not quite true. No, we can do it this way and this way. And for that, Hal, I think, gave us the white papers last time, right? You put it on the chat. So if you don't have it, Hal, if you can put it up again, possibly, study that, because it has all those main, the main issues with California that people are going to ask. Why will we be better of this? Why that? They're going to ask you specific questions, and you need to know how to answer them, so you come out knowledgeable and people do not embarrass you because you don't know your facts. They're going to come out with knowledge base, and they might be right and they might not be right. So you have to be able to like direct them back into the correct, you know, that no, it's not this. Actually, you're right in this, but not. That's not exactly the statistics of this. Okay, so I invite you to all get educated in those white papers, so you at least have a general idea of how to answer. So thank you, Sue, for that. That's really good. Who would like, we've got William. We got Walter, I mean. Walter with the two first names.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I want to piggyback on what Sue just said, which I think was great. And when you just told me about some white papers that Hal had collected, I never heard about that before. When I started making these points that I sent out as emails, I was basing it primarily on the statement in the, I believe it was the Independent California website that says what we stand for, and then in the California National Party where it has the platform, which I think has some really good points and some really good ideas. I want to say that some people had raised the issue that we need to focus on the initiative first, and I totally agree with that. What I was trying to do in sending out these kind of things for us to think about is to answer the question when people ask, you know, when we're out, if we're out there gathering signatures, and they will ask, well, why should I support California independence? What's going to be different? What's going to be better? And so we need to be prepared to answer these kinds of things. Now, it doesn't mean that we all have to agree on every single thing. We're not going to. It's just inevitable that there are going to be differences. And so I respect that, and I'm not trying to, you know, push my view on everybody else. I was just trying to kind of use this as a model for exactly what you just said, that, you know, we need to be prepared so that when people ask us about this, what are we going to say? And so I think integral to passing the initiative is going to be exactly that, persuading people why their life will be better if California is an independent nation. And so I think that's integral into the technique for getting the initiative passed. I have raised the issue of the California State Guard, and I sent around my you know, after going through all their different websites and stuff, what I thought were the crucial issues. I put in a call to them, and they haven't returned my call yet. But what I want to make perfectly clear from them is, can the California State Guard be federalized? And Marcus, you had talked about this, that it cannot, but is there any circumstance that they could be federalized? Marcus, do you know the answer to that? You're saying no? Okay, so if we're confident of that, then the reason for emphasizing this is not to have a, you know, a military response. We want to be a peaceful movement, have a peaceful secession, I agree. But if we can persuade the California state government to shift the funds from the National Guard to the State Guard, then that prevents a president from nationalizing those people. And that's what that's why I think we should be pushing this issue along with the initiative. Okay, so it's designed not to make a military response, but to prevent the federal government from making a military response. And I think if we can have all these people in the State Guard under the control of the governor, as opposed to the National Guard, under the command of the president, then that will tie the hands of the president a lot more. Now, we don't all have to agree on this. Okay, so I think when we come up with these things, and Hal, tell me if you did this with the white papers that I just heard about, and I'd really like to see. Do you have some things where they say, okay, these are the approaches, and we, you know, and here's one approach, and here's another approach, and here's another approach, and we don't have to, you know, come to a settlement on all of these issues before the initiative, but we do have to be prepared to talk to people, and exactly what you just said, Daniel, that people are going to be different, and different people are going to be interested in it for different reasons. So we need to be prepared on that. And so I would like to see, Hal, can you talk more about these white papers and how we can get them?
One second, I just to address real quick, William's thing. William brings up a really great point about the military. This is something we get asked about all the time.
Hours.
You know, and they always say, what's going to happen? The question will be, what's going to happen, you know, if we're not defended? We have no military, we have nothing. They're going to ask that question. A lot of people are going to ask that question. And we have, there's a few answers to that. One is Williams. There's other answers to that, and it's in the white paper. And Hal, I'll give it over to you, okay? Bye.
Just answer for a quick yes. A lot of these answers are already basically just FAQ. I mean, we've gotten the, what are you going to do about water? What are you going to do about military? What are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about that? We've been getting those questions for years. We basically already have pretty stock standard answers. Some of them border on, you know, it's like, aren't you guys a Russian hoax? And it's like, you know, no, Putin's check bounced. You know, we've been hearing these questions over and over and over and over and over again. There are some questions, you know, it's like, well, what would California do for a military? It's like, well, we'd spend 1% GDP like every other nation except America. 1% of GDP, which would be about $23 billion or $24 billion depending, and that's more that, you know, that far outstrips Mexico or Canada, who would be our closest competitors. We already have these things. We do already have these things in the white papers, and I'll apologize. I've been kind of overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that's going. Hello, yeah, hi, Marcus. So I am getting it out there. So there are deeper questions. Some of these deeper questions, it's like water usage and so forth. We do get those questions, but not as often. What you're going to get, you know, it's like, what about Texas versus white? That's a perfectly valid question, but if somebody's already asking you that, they've already deep dived this. They're already pretty well informed. If they're bringing up court cases. So usually for the most part, and like I said, I addressed everybody as basically leads prior to this. Generally a list of frequently asked questions, it's about 3 pages long. It doesn't take that much, you know, it's about 15 questions that we always get. These should be enough for the people who are helping the leads collect, the people who are in your organizations, to be able to answer, you know, 90% of the questions. The deeper dive questions, that's where you guys come in, and that's where these think tanks and board discussions actually are very beneficial. I will caution on policy decisions. When you talk about future policy of California, my advice is to always use the we'll leave that for after we achieve independence.
Yes.
We don't all agree necessarily on what California will look like after independence is achieved. So when you get there, when you get those kind of questions, basically it's like we teach to say, it's like, we'll leave that to the voters. We'll leave that to we'll leave that to the Californians. Or else you tread amongst bear traps.
Yeah.
Believe me, I know this because I've stepped in a few myself. Anyway, does that answer the question?
Yep.
And I will get out a copy of that as quick as possible. In fact, I will do my best to drop it into the chat.
Thank you, Hal. I just want to second what Hal just said about you're going to be asked this, what is our government going to look like after independence? You don't want to jump into that. You want to just say at first, we're definitely not there. We're not about what's going to happen. Our movement is not about what's going to happen after independence. It's to get independence. After that, we leave it to the voters. Like any democracy, it's not up to us after that. There's going to be voters. There's going to be initiatives. There's going to be, a democratic process. And it's not our movement's position to say what it's going to be like or to influence what it's going to be like. That's going to be the voters. And that shuts them up pretty much, well, because even if they keep on saying that, just come back to the point, that's not our objective right now. It's to get California independent. After that, just like any democratic society, the voters will make up what they feel California should look like after independence. So that's a very important point. Thanks, Hal, for bringing that up. Joe, do you want to go next? Or Shankar, or who? Shankar? Okay, we'll go to Shankar and then I'll come to you, Joe. Here you go, Shankar. You got to unmute yourself. There.
Hello, hello?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So just to address a couple of the things that that have been said, everybody's bogging down with technical questions and it's getting real serious. So look, ease up a bit. When we do petitions, we usually get a table, a booth. I like having a table or a booth. It's like a home base. Especially when you venture out with your clipboard, you can come back, get some shade, get some water. So that's the other thing. And the other thing with having a booth, I'm talking like an easy up. Besides a home base, this is like your castle. So I usually have a bullhorn. Get a bullhorn. Sit in your castle, and what I say is this: win a free T-shirt. Answer 3 questions about California. Win a free T-shirt right here. You want to try, sir? You want to win 3? Do you live in California? Yes, I do. You think you know? Answer 3 simple questions. You win a shirt. That gets them in because, hey, who doesn't know anything about California? I've lived here my whole life. I know everything about it. They come up, they step up to it. Now, all the questions that everybody was bringing up earlier right now, are the water questions, the military questions. Now, these are what your questions are going to be to him to ask. But you gotta ease it up. You want them to think they're going to get a chance at the T-shirt. No one's winning a shirt, guys. No one's winning a shirt. They are buying a shirt, damn it. Am I right now? Okay, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. We give out shirts sometimes. I think one time we gave out a shirt. Now, these questions are hard, like the water question. So the question would be, what percentage of California's water comes from out of state? So that's one of the questions. And then they have no idea. I'll give them 3 choices. I'll name A, B, and C. And they'll get it wrong. They'll think it's like 80% or 50%. And it's actually less than 5%. It's less than 3% almost that comes from out of state, from Colorado. And they're surprised at that. Now you just eliminated the whole water question. Now they don't got to ask you anything about water because they know California's got water. Second question, dude, military, right? What branch of the military is underneath the governor's control and not the president? They're never going to get this one, dude. They're never going to get this one. It's the California State Military Reserve. Oh, I didn't know we had a military reserve. Yes, now they know that California actually has a military. We actually have some sort of a backbone. We can start talking about it being underfunded, whatever you want to talk about that. But you got to get to the third question, if they even get to that third question, because they already missed 2. They're actually disqualified. Give them a water if it's hot, right? Give them a little water and cool down. Tell them about the initiative. So, hey, we're collecting signatures here just to pose a question and get a commission together. And that's how you want to keep it, guys, light and fluffy. Don't bog it down. Don't get in serious debates. That was my issue the whole time. I got in serious debates, and then not the whole time, but in the beginning with yes. And I would not stop. I was unrelenting. And I think Dan or Juan had to like pull me off some dude one time, and it was out of control, man. I just I can't stand like losing, I guess, or whatever. I don't know. You know, once we got the shirts in and we use that as leverage to get people to come to you instead of you going to them, it got a whole lot easier to get signatures, guys. A whole lot easier. So booth, some sort of prize, and waters. Get waters and hand them out because it's going to be hot. They'll appreciate it. If you can get waters that says Independent California on it, like Dan's got, great. That's my opinion on the whole thing about signature gathering, dudes. I mean, keep it light and fluffy, dude. Don't get bogged down, and don't get in a contentious debate. Watch out for press. Watch out for press. If press is coming and snooping around your booth and sniffing around, make sure a legit person is talking to them, not someone that just is kind of sure. Okay, if someone is sniffing around, point them out to a person that knows better than you. And have them talk, because it's the press. You never know what they're gonna write. So other than that, I think that's it. You really got to remember. I mean,
thanks, Shankar. All good stuff. Hold on, Hal. I just want to again second Shankar what he said. One of the big things I would like to say is you're going to have conservatives, right, come up to you, whether they're California conservative or they're out-of-state conservatives. Do not get into a debate with them. You will never win. You will never convince them. They will just put in the same arguments, and you have to recognize these people and cut it short, because that was our first thing with Shankar Hal, is we would get into debates because we thought, hey, we know our shit. We're going to convince them. We know about water, we know about shit. They didn't give a shit about that. Sorry, excuse my French, but you don't want to ever get into an argument with those kind of people, because they're just trying to egg you on. They're just trying to embarrass you. They're going to embarrass you in front of other people. Try to embarrass you in front of other people that you're trying to get to sign, because they just want chaos in there. So the best thing to do is just walk away and say, look, sir, if you don't believe in this, that's fine. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, and just let them go. And they're going to come back at you because they're ferocious. They're going to come back. You just have to let it go and just not pay attention and say, sir, that's okay. Move on. If you don't believe in this, it's a free country. You can do whatever you want. But you don't want to stay with them, and you don't want other people to see you arguing with them, because that's exactly what they want. They're trying to egg you on so that they can build chaos around you. So very good point. Just a quick second point that I didn't make at the beginning that I just thought of. If you can, at first, especially first timers that go out there, if you can be with some other people within this group or friends or anything that support you, that's huge at first. If I wasn't with Shankar or Hal or things like that, but there's always somebody that knows something you don't know. So, if I'm gonna put my foot in my mouth, if I feel I'm gonna put my foot in my mouth, I'll go up to Shankar or Hal and go, hey, Hal, what was that statistics, or, whatever. So you can always have that. And on top, it makes you feel like you're not just by yourself and everybody's focusing on you. And it gives you like a strength. And the second fold of that is that when you have a bunch of people, you look more serious. You're there sitting with Independent California t-shirts and stuff. And while a person is going by and you're talking to them and stuff, there's other people going by. Well, Shankar can catch him, or Hal can catch him, where by myself, I'm going to miss out, because there's always a person that's going to want to talk to you to death. Okay, and so you're going to be there 5 minutes trying to talk to them to get a signature, and you're going to miss out on 10 potential people, maybe. So what I say, what helped me a lot is to be with other people, especially in the organization, if you can, but if you can't, friends or something, to have that support group. And it makes you look professional. When, you know, yourself, when you come out of a market and there's 3-4 people with Greenpeace, you're going, okay, this is a legit organization. You see one poor soul trying to get, a signature desperately and stuff. People are going to feel blood. They're going to feel it, and they're going to feel that you're scared and this like that. So at first I would say it's great to be in groups. We've always been in groups usually. Anyways, I've hardly ever been by myself at events doing that. So that's just what I wanted to say. Hal, did you have something to add to that, or?
No, that's very good. I was going to admonish to when Shankar brought up the media. There is legit media and there is not legit media.
Yeah.
So it's always good to get your leads. I mean, if the media approaches you and says, "I'd like to do an interview," our current tactic is take them offline, take them out of the. You don't want to be talking to somebody. You don't want to be talking to a media person and blocking people from coming up and getting your signatures. You take them offline. Then it's a decision. It's like if it's channel 7 or channel 5 or what have you, you're great. If it's, yeah, I represent the Joe's I hate everybody right-wing media.
Yeah.
Basically you will also run into some very legit looking bloggers who are basically there to mine gotcha moments. So there's a certain amount of, yeah. Everybody who's going to go out there as a chapter lead, needs to be mindful of who you're talking to. That's all I had to say on it.
Thanks, Hal. And yeah, and Hal brings up a great point. That's why also being with a few people is great, because often, I'll give it off to Hal, like I'm talking to somebody or whatever, or I feel Hal would be great for that interview, or Shankar for that one. Then I can say, hey, Hal, can you do an interview with this person? Because I feel he would be better at those talking points, or Shankar would be better. And that's great. That's why you have to have a bunch of people there. And like he said, be very careful, because these people will come out, they look like they're going to be interested in independence California, and they're liberal and stuff, and they can be completely the opposite. They're just trying to catch you on video and post it up to their thing and say, look at this guy, how stupid and ridiculous he is. These independent California guys. So they're just looking to humiliate you on their blogs or anything. So you have to know how to recognize it, like Hal said. So thank you. Joe, we're gonna go to you right now.
Okay. I've never gathered signatures outside of high school, so I just have a couple of things. First off, let me say this. Earlier this year, 2020, Californians went together and had an election. Now, the biggest party in California by far is the Democrat Party. Who won California? Bernie Sanders. I think we align ourselves with that kind of mentality. I think we'll win. So I kind of take my talking points and my notes from his campaign. What I would say is America is falling apart. It can't fix itself, and it doesn't want our ideas, just our money. The president is above the law. Accountability depends on who's in power, what party is in DC. America will never stop talking and not doing anything about social justice, women's rights, LGBT community, everything. They just talk. That's all they ever do. And there's a reason why. Let's say Joe Biden gets into office. What is he going to do the first 4 years of his presidency? Nothing, because he has to set everything up for the next 4 years. That's how American politics works. In the military, my note on that is California's portion of the U.S. military is larger than what Russia spends on their military. just fine with a lot less. So you cut our portion of the military budget there, you got all the money you need to fix all the roads in California. A couple other things I do want to point out too is that this year is going to be different than any other year in petition gathering, not because of COVID, not just because of COVID, but it's we're in a digital world now. I mean, things are a little bit different. People can just walk by and snap a QR code that takes them to where they can register to vote on their phone. Okay, if they're going to print this out, they can just capture all that information from a QR code and be able to do it later. So they don't have to sit there and sign everything right then. People are not going to want to do that. If they have an option to do something else, let's give them every option in the world. So maybe we print out some QR codes and just scan things. Register to vote here, sign a petition here, print it out and send it in. That kind of thing. Or you can just have them return it back to you. That way you can send it back up to Sacramento. Another thing too is when people sign the signature, have them post that to social media. Ask them to take a selfie and then post it to social media where they can send it out to all their friends showing that, hey, I signed this petition. Why don't you too? Okay. And then another thing too is, and this is going to be important later on, is have people, if they want to, maybe have like another form that they can kind of give a reason why they're signing it. Hey, sign a petition, and then over there, if you'll just take a quick second and give us a reason or two why you're signing this and why you want to leave. Here's why that's important. I'm creating a political action committee. Later on, I'm going to be airing ads in California to get Californians to not only sign this, but to vote for this later on once it's the ballot. If I have that information, I know why everybody wants to leave. I know exactly what to hit them with. Okay? So things like that, just little things like that help the movement later on down the line. Okay? But with that, I'll end there. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joe. Just so you know, your audio was I don't know what was going on, but it sounded like you were underwater somewhere. So I don't know, maybe you can clean it up.
Sorry, I had a fan on my phone. I'm sorry about that. Did you guys hear any of that?
See, now you're perfectly clear, but Sue brought it up, but you sounded a bit like you were underwater while you were, but we understood you. We still understood you.
Okay.
So that's okay. Thanks. So I'm going to go with Jason. Jason, want to say something? Are you there, Jason? Yeah.
Yeah.
There you are.
I was listening and looking at the initiative, just for record. October is when there was an initiative that was given title and summary, filed with the same people that we filed our initiative, and it is about being able to gather signatures online, electronically, for initiative. Just to let everyone know. So now that that's handled and been covered, hi, what am I doing here? I'm gathering signatures for this initiative that we filed, for the CalExit or California Independence Movement. Oh, what's it about? Well, reestablishing the nationhood of California. Why? Oh, well, why not? Let me ask you, what issues are you most concerned about? What do you feel the most about? Oh, well, you say global warming. Did you know that when President Trump pulled the United States of America, all 50 states of America, out of the clean energy green thing that was going on with literally the entire world, California chose to go and take part on its own. Why? Because California really generally seems to care about that and seems to, really take a certain stance that, you know, global warming is a real thing. We do have environmental issues we are facing, and we really should enact measures to correct this before it's too late. Oh, what about world hunger, though, you say? Oh, that's a great question. Did you know that California is one of the largest agricultural entities in the world? The United States of America's GDP is only so high because of California's output. Most of the USDA goods that go out to like food banks and such are California goods that aren't going to sale on the world market. That's why they then get bought up by the USDA for pennies on the dollar of their worth, and California loses so much money on. Did you know that California can't even set our own prices for our goods? That's America. We get no say in it, and they set the price really high, high enough that most of the world cannot afford California produce. Now, that's not to say that we're not in demand, because California goods are some of the most highly demanded goods in the world. Pretty much everyone would love to have easy access to California goods at a fair price. And that's why a lot of our goods don't sell, is because we can't set our price at a fair price. It's always much higher than it needs to be. And so goods go to waste. An independent California could set its own price. Oh, but politics and dirty politics and shady money, yeah, I agree. And that's why the United States of America is not going to help us change this or allow us to change it. They're benefiting while we are dying from it. Not literally, but, you know, let it go on long enough and maybe it will be. There have been questionable things that have happened since longer than I've been alive, longer than 34 years. There have been shady political dealings left and right, all across the board with the United States of America. California does seem to want to enact certain standards, you know, for, say, keeping dark money out of politics, having certain amounts of accountability to the people so that, you know, no politician can be receiving funding from, like, you know, some hostile foreign entity per se, uh, because everything will have to be up and on the table. Is it a guarantee that an independent California would do that? No, but and I'm not one for assuming things, but I'm pretty certain, given that this has affected California so greatly, pretty certain an independent California would choose to enact certain measures to see that that does not happen again. So, out of the uh, out of the play here, uh, political finance reform, right? We've got agricultural stability and sustainability, clean energy efficiency, infrastructure, sex trafficking, immigration reform, healing native lands and communities, something California seems pretty big on, uh, police officer and judiciary reform, LGBTQP and plus rights and equality, gender pay equality, things things that aren't necessarily mandatory, but you know, we know there's the right thing to do is to pay a woman that works this job out as the man that works that job right next to her. It's the right thing to do. And because it's not mandatory, we even saw former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, while she was running for president, someone called her out on not paying her female staffers as much as she pays her male staffers. And her response was that it wasn't mandatory. It's not a legal mandate. There's no law about that. She, a woman running for president, decided that she was okay paying women, her fellow women, less, only because it's not mandatory.
Ah.
I'm fairly certain that an independent California would get behind making some sort of legislation to make that mandatory. Why is our initiative not also viewable in Espanol? Because it's not mandatory. There is no legal mandate making it happen. I do personally believe that we should have every single thing that we have in English in Spanish as well. Also, wouldn't hurt to have it in Armenian, Greek, Cantonese, Mandarin, Japanese, Korean, you know,
One more minute.
mandatory. Okay. Is it mandatory? No. Is it the right thing to do? Yeah. And that seems to be the heart of California's mindset in general, is that there is the right thing to do, and we usually tend to go for it, even when it's hard, because it's the right thing to do. Like JFK with his why go to the moon? Not because it's easy. The easy thing to do is sit back and do nothing, and the Russians can land on the moon first and win the space race, which isn't even really a real race, but you know, we've made it a thing. But yeah, we could give up. That's the easy thing. Or we could take the hard route and try to do this and try to really test ourselves and advance ourselves, put ourselves to good use, do something rather than nothing. And in independent California, I could totally see you leading the way on world issues. And, you know.
Okay. Thanks, Jason.
Yeah.
I just I would like to add something, because as people are talking, things pop up in my mind. Like Jason just said, you know, he's got a lot of great talking points and everything. What I want you to realize from my experience, and probably Hal's, Matt's, or anybody that's been out there, you're going to find that Californians, the progressive ones, which you would think would be easy, are not easy at all to convince. Why is that? Why is that? Because Californians are spoiled. Californians are in their bubble. They already have great things. We've already instituted great change in California by Californians. We have the initiative process. We have, you know, more, any rights that we have, immigration, all that, everything. So what's going to happen is when you're trying to convince them with talking points, they're going to say, well, you know, we're doing pretty well right now. We're doing pretty well. And so why you know, why even rock the boat and everything? And you're going to get that, and you're going to get something that Sue touched upon, is that, oh, but if we leave our, you know, all the rest of the states, what are they going to do? You know, Californians want to help everybody. They're like bleeding heart. It's true. They're bleeding heart. They're going to go, what about, I have family in Wisconsin. I have this. And then what's going to happen to them if California leaves? So they feel like they're responsible, basically, for the United States staying on track. And that's why California want to change everything within the United States, but they can't. And so be ready to have that thing where people are saying, well, you know what, California is doing well, and what's going to happen, you know, to other people and everything. So it's gonna be a sell to tell them, because they're not frustrated enough. And a lot of them also think that politically, if they were to get progressives back in Congress and as presidents and stuff, that everything would be fixed with that. You're going to run into that they still have the mentality that the US is not broken. It is broken right now, but they could fix it again by changing the system. And so you're going to get that again, and you need to know how to answer it. So I just wanted to make those points. I'm going to go, if Bob, I don't know, do you want to speak, Bob? Bob Timlin?
Hi, this is Bob. Just to the point that Daniel's making about people concerned about relatives in other states, one of the things I think would be good to talk about as a possibility is some sort of EU-type North American Union, to where we would continue to have a relationship with those other states, but there just wouldn't be a federal government anymore. And it would be a relationship between sovereign nations, not states. So that could be a talking point.
Definitely. Anything else? Okay, Bob's good. John, did you want to say anything? John from Return California? No, you're okay? Or
I'm just enjoying listening to all the great minds on this call. I'm really looking forward to seeing the flood of signatures coming in.
yes, great. So I see Walter has his hand up, and then Hannah, I'll come back to you. Go ahead. You need to unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. When I was talking with my 93-year-old mother about this, her questions were, well, what would happen to my Social Security? What would happen to my Medicare? And so that's, I think, a common question for at least elderly people. And so I explained to her that people, Americans who have paid into Social Security can get it no matter what country they're living in around the world. And so that's immaterial. Okay, and then on Medicare is very different though. You have to be present in the United States to get medical care if you're under Medicare. But I think that would be part of the negotiation that California would do with the federal government to say, hey, we're gonna provide Medicare for everybody, and so it'll be immaterial, so you don't have to pay all of this, and that would be a big advantage to the United States, not having to pay for these Medicare expenses for the people in California. So that was the way I answered it. If other people have better answers, I'd like to hear their responses.
Thanks, Walter. Yes, and Walter makes a great point about Social Security. That's a question you're asked a lot, and the answer he gave is exactly the answer you should give, is that people that leave the United States, go live in Europe or anywhere else, get their Social Security sent to them. You cannot deny other people from their Social Security that they've been put in. So it would be exactly the same for California. They would still get their Social Security because a lot of people always ask that question, oh, what's going to happen, to that. So that's a great point. Hannah?
I just want, okay. So first thing I want to say that Social Security is the easiest question to answer because remind people, it's a pay-as-you-go system. So that, in other words, a lot of people think they've been paying it all this time and it goes into some little account somewhere and then it's drawn off like a pension is, but in fact, it's not an annuity, it's not a pension. It's a pay-as-you-go system. People working today pay beneficiaries as well as today. And then the idea is in the future, you will receive payments from some other younger worker. So it's a simple matter to create our own system under probably a fairer, better system, which will provide better benefits for lower cost. I think that's my simplest answer. And I remind people that people don't understand how Social Security actually works.
Let's not get bogged down in an issue.
I don't want to get bogged down, but since Walter brought it up, to me, that's like a crucial point to raise to people. Now, Daniel, the reason I want to wave my hand so enthusiastic because Daniel asked this question about what about people in other states and the like. And that's why I created this radio ad. I've been waiting to figure out a chance to play it to you. So listen carefully. It's 1 minute and 15 seconds, and it totally throws the whole issue upside down and basically says that sign this petition, sucker, because the United States of America needs your help. Here's how it goes.
We all love Sam. Sam's done some great things in his life, but he's been going downhill for years. He drinks too much racism and bigotry, and his gun collection has gotten out of hand. Fortunately, you can help. It's hard, California, but you have to be brave. It's up to you to stand up to Sam and say to him, Sam, if you don't change right now, I'm going to leave you. We all love our Uncle Sam, but he's destroying himself and us at the same time. Sam can be saved, but he needs our help. We have to stage an intervention now, before it's too late for Sam to help himself. Make America good again. Sign the petition to put the California Independence Plebiscite Initiative on the next statewide ballot. The California Liberation Movement PAC brings you this message.
Love it. Great.
Can I say something real quick? I really encouraged Hannah to get that out. Not because I'm saying that is the one, but look at what we can do. Hannah thought of this commercial 2 days ago. It's already ready to go. The best ever? No. Good enough for TV? Yeah. Good enough to convince people? Yeah. Designed for a particular market? Uh-huh. Make commercials. I wanted you all to see this is what we can do. Look, Hannah's got a commercial. She's got a ribbon on. She did that at home. You can do that too. Maybe you have some other idea for poster stuff. People, we can do this. Look at what Hannah did. I want you all to be inspired. Go make your own commercials. Go make your own stuff. We can all do this. Look at the corporate level she's achieved in a few days. You can do that too. We can all do that. I want to make sure that's clear.
Can I just point out too that this was actually inspired by Joe Williams, because Joe's point was, if you haven't read his article, he's saying, oh, he's saying we should call for constitutional reform, and then if we don't get that, then you can support California independence. And so that's what we're kind of inspired by, that is saying, make America good again. Sign this petition.
It's great. Great, Hannah. We all enjoyed it. Sue said she was laughing her ass off on that, so we appreciate it. Okay.
Well, it's also it's also a good example, guys. Thank you very. Okay, it's also.
You're muted. You're good.
I'm muted. I just want to say it's also a good example of how you can use existing motifs, in the media, to your advantage. Because we've all heard this ad, and it usually begins with "Send Sam to rehab," right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I thought to myself. I thought, you're sitting in your car waiting for a light to change, and you hear this coming over the radio, and you've got something in Independence, California, ballot initiative. Uncle Sam needs my help, etc. I think it will flip. And I guess just by guessing by your reaction, I can tell you really like the idea. Yes, Daniel, I thought of you as being the person who would be fantastic to really get this, to make a professional version of it. And then maybe we can put it on YouTube. We need a good voiceover artist, not me. I did my best. And then that, of course, is free music from the Free Music Archive. But maybe someone else can have something. Maybe you got a good friend who can play a beautiful piece of piano music, that classic, rehab program type of music that they use.
Sure. And just Hannah, just So, you know, you did a great job. I mean, I didn't even recognize your voice. I didn't even know that was you, actually. So really, we wouldn't need, you're the voiceover for that. That's really good. I mean, it sounds very, you know how to put it in kind of a sarcastic way. That sounds really good. So thanks for that. Oh yeah, and on that same thing, if you guys, any of you guys want to do the same type of thing with the theme of divorce, for example, divorce Uncle Sam, we've had a rocky marriage for this long or whatever, you know, a message like that, because that's been one of our, logos of saying, we even have a sign that Marcus made with a heart that's broken and says divorce, California wants a divorce or something like that. So if you guys want to play with that, that's also a great thing. All those themes are great for that. Marcus, you wanted to?
Have we gone through everybody on the list? Everybody's gotten a
Yeah,
chance.
Shankar just has one more thing, and then we're gonna go to you, Marcus, and end it. Is that good? Okay.
Yeah, I'll go last. Well, and then we can have a talk after.
Okay. Shankar, go ahead.
I was just loading up our commercial that we made. Maybe I'll play it at the end here. So just real quick,
play it
right now, or
yeah, if you got a commercial, play it. Can you hold up the screen or play the audio or something?
Yeah. Here it is. It's a tearjerker, man. It's a tearjerker, I must say. So it's called "I'm Californian." Okay, let me share screen real quick.
You can't share the screen.
We can hear it. We can at least hear it.
Okay, here, let's do it. It's the beginning. It's got like scenes of California, the High Sierras, Newport Beach, just the landscape of California. And then it's got our org's logo coming up right here. Then our website, which lends me to what I'm about to say right now too.
United States economy is so
it's me driving
that it feels that the only way it can be successful is the domination of war, profiting through war, and as a person that's lost 3 dear friends from war, I don't want that for my children.
Lester,
And
sure you don't want to come with me?
California has been successful without war. It doesn't need war. It leads and innovates by bringing good into the world, whether it's entertainment, good through the world, whether it's in products that make you healthy, good through the world, whether it's improving your environment and your climate. That's how California is successful. And as California leads the world, I want my kids growing up with leaders. So that's why I do what I do. My name is Shankar Singham, and I'm a Californian.
So now I got a bunch of people, like the array of people.
I am a Californian. I'm a Californian. I'm a Californian. I'm Californian.
So you just see like a diversity.
I'm a Californian. I am Californian.
And the last one's a little kid, yo. I mean, the last one's a little girl. It's just a total. At the end, I mean, everybody just you can't help but go, oh my god. I wish I'll put the link up on here right now. But real quick, guys, back to the initiative, real quick. So look, I'm going to make videos on instructional videos on how to do this. I think role playing is going to be key to this before you guys go out there, just so you guys can have your feet wet and you're not just thrown into the fire. So we'll role play over on Zoom here. And I'll be the worst guy, and I'll be like an easy guy. Okay, I mean, it's easy. I mean, all of us can do. All of us has done it before. Can do it. So, and as we role play, I'll tell you right now, if you get a guy from the military, forget about him. Okay, he loves the United States. He's gonna die for that country. He ain't gonna sign it. Okay, establishment Democrats are the worst. Okay, they are not they're going to be mad at you. They will be mad at you more than Republicans are. Okay, write them up. Forget about them. Okay, don't try to. They'll bring up Russia. They'll bring up all that other crap. All right. So who you're targeting, and libertarians. Guess what, guys? Libertarians actually back us up a little bit. All right. Libertarians are on our side more so than any of the other two parties. Okay. So if you ever run a Republican, say, hey, libertarians, we did the Libertarian Convention. Adam Kokesh, we was our sponsor for our president. We have much to say for the Libertarian Party. Who you're targeting with the initiative are people that aren't political. The middle road, the guys that never really vote. And if they do vote, you want to get them to register right there on your tablet. If they're not registered, but if they are, have them sign. Because the ones that aren't political, as soon as you say 2 or 3 awesome talking points, yeah, I'll sign. Yeah, I'll sign. Yeah, I'll sign. The ones that are politically astute, they're going to want to research you. They're going to want to read the initiative. They're going to want to see who you are. It's just when they do that, say, okay, hey, can I just get your email for our newsletter, for our email list? Get their fucking information. Sorry for cursing. Get their information. Don't let them leave without getting something from them, okay? If there's a piece of information or even their signature for the initiative, you want that information, because guess what? If they do read it and they say, oh, you know what? It sounds pretty good. I want to sign it. Then guess what? Then we can email. Well, when we email them, they'll have a way of contacting us. Plus, guys, that's also an email list that we can collect, that we can amass, that we can use for marketing, that we can use for all kinds of other stuff in the future. That's what we've been doing, okay? Last thing is, I can't read my own writing. I think that's it, man. I mean, you just want to, whatever the topic is and whatever you're talking about with them, paint a positive picture of what it is going to be like. California's going to be. Just leave it as a positive picture. Don't leave it like, I don't know, U.S. is going to screw us. Don't ever leave it like that, okay? Leave it like we're better. It's going to be better. It's going to be better. It's. Can you imagine? Say sentences like that. So, I think that's all. That's all I got. And I'll make videos. I'll make a couple of instructional video, guys. It's already on my list. Our list. Hal has to do a video. I got to do a video for this. So, it'll be on there. I'll make a few of them because you can't just cover the range of scenarios that will happen when you're petitioning, because there's so many different people out there. You guys should feel pretty comfortable when you guys go out, though. I'll make sure of that. All right, that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Shankar. I just want, before I hand it over to Marcus, just again, something that comes to mind as you've seen, the theme of this is there's 2 ways to go when talking to people. That is the angle of America's broken, look at the federal government, look at all that. There's that angle, or there's the angle of, like what Shankar said, the positive thing of becoming independent as California. So there's those 2 angles you can go, depending on the person you have in front of you. If it's somebody that you feel's really dismayed with Trump, with this, then you can go the United States is broken type of thing. If it's somebody that is just more positive, that loves California, you can go with, look how much better we would be off, and leave out the broken U.S. argument. But you've got two ways to approach people already, and that's where you have to feel them to see which one is a better way to go. Both are viable for different people. Some will get a bad reaction, like some people, like Shankar said, that are really established Democrats and stuff, might not like the fact that you say the U.S. is broken. They're not going to believe you and whatever. So you might want to go with California values and all that stuff. So I just wanted to say that, and I'm going to hand it off to Marcus to finish this, and then Marcus, you can have everybody talk.
Yeah, I wanted to do a little bit more discussion, but I wanted to throw in a couple points and then hand it back. Let me just say, excellent meeting today. Daniel, thank you for organizing this. Thank you for getting everything together. Okay, let's get a comment from Walter, and then no more comments. Let me finish my piece. So Daniel, please have Walter give a comment, and then I'd like to speak uninterrupted for a few minutes. I can't. Can you hear me? I can't hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Mine is a question. I'm new and I'm still learning about these things, but I've seen some different questions about what's going to be the issue about guns. Are we going to be able to, are we going to be able to have a policy about gun control, or what is the best approach for that issue?
So Marcus might want to answer that, but what I'm going to answer, that's again what Hal was saying, that's an afterthought. That's when we become independent. If people start saying, what's going to be that issue when we become independent, then you have to say it in a matter of, then the voters will decide at that time. It's one of those answers you give after. You don't want to get into what will it be like. You never want to get into that. So that's my answer. Hal, you agree? Okay. Marcus, I'm going to give it to you if you want to answer that, or anyone go on.
Okay, thank you all very much. This was a great conference. Thank you, Daniel, for setting this up. I really appreciate it. Good information. A lot of people had great quality content. So this was a great conference. We accomplished our goal. I want everyone to know that. Many of you thought about your talking points. You've seriously been thinking about supporting this initiative and what you can do. So, wow, everybody came through. I just want to say, yes, there's more to do, but this was good. This was really good. We as a movement have gelled around an idea and everybody's thinking about it. And wow, that's a level of focus that we've never had before, ever. So 2016, 2017, that's what that group's doing, and screw them, we have nothing to do with that. Now everybody's saying, okay, we're all going to support the initiative, whether what group you're in. That's never happened before. And we have people in power talking to us. Never happened before. So I want everybody to get that straight in your head. The movement has never been more unified. Yes, there's a lot more work to do. I already know what you're thinking. Yes, we have never been this unified, and we have never had this much institutional response, ever. So in those two regards, we're better than we've ever been, and that includes when Trump won. Know that.